CarmenRider here with another commentary. Now, initially I was going to do a video on Onision, but...
Pussy! Pussy! Beta bitch!
So yeah, now I can't do that. So I decided to do a series of videos this time. And by series, I mean only two. Hey, if the gamer can exaggerate shit, then so can I. Specifically, it's QuintonReviews videos on GradeAUnderA. And before you say it, no, I'm not white knighting GradeAUnderA. I just want to state my opinion on this subject and show how Quinton is kind of a hypocrite. You'll see why in a bit. Want to see a grown man overreact to a stick figure? No? Too bad, because here we go.
In 2014, a series of 2 videos made by a previously unknown content creator suddenly started going viral. And shortly afterwards, that said YouTuber started his channel back up after a long hiatus. And we were thus introduced to Grade A Underachiever.
Not even a minute in and you're already insulting the guy. Bit immature, ain't it? If you want to play dirty, I'm gonna play dirty too. Your semi-condescending tone gives off strong Reddit vibes. And no, that is not a good thing.
A comedic station which set out to discuss minor qualms that arrive to modern, first-world life with an absurd, overreactive tone and voice. And for a while, Grade A was setting himself out to be a surprisingly successful long-time character created for the site. But recently, many people, including me, have come to a very horrifying and disturbing realization.
Horrifying and disturbing? That's a bit of an overreaction. Also, GradeAUnderA was never a character. He was always supposed to be his actual real-life self. Yes, he did play it up for the camera a bit, but he was never just a character.
Guys, we may have fucked up. I don't think that this guy is a character.
Oh, you don't fucking say! Next thing you're gonna tell me is that the Earth is round, Santa's not real, and the moon is made of rock.
We may have just spent the last 2 years taking an actual egotistical, narcissistic crazy person and making him an unironic voice of reason on this website.
Egotistical and narcissistic crazy person? Sounds more like you're talking about Onision, if anything. And last time I checked, Onision is the exact opposite of a voice of reason. You call GradeAUnderA egotistical, but he has confidence. But I guess that's unheard of in the world of YouTube, since we expect everyone to be an extra sad boy all the time. Though this mindset isn't even limited to YouTube. People on the internet seem to have this weird double standard when it comes to confidence. As someone who suffers from depression and overall is a complete loser, I often go to other people to see how I get better in life. The answer is always, be more confident. Yet, when I try to be more confident, people always see me as egotistical. It's a weird double standard people have that I never understood, and I think that double standard applies here. Yes, there are people who are egotistical on here, but GradeAUnderA isn't one of them. And again, yes, he does play it up for the camera, but he isn't egotistical. He's just confident. But this is YouTube, and we all know that there is no in-between when it comes to ego. Plus, we have enough sad boys on the platform as is, so props to GradeAUnderA for being more original.
Why did we do this? No one knows! Of all the channels on this site, you'd understand why I would presume that this was another parody persona, right?
No. Where did you get that idea?
Like Filthy Frank or even the Nostalgia Critic to some extent. When you watch these guys being assholes or just being bad at arguing, it's only mostly amusing because we know that it's an exaggeration. It's not real, it's a joke. Like Andy Kaufman in the wrestling match. When they step out of that persona or talk about a topic that's serious, you expect a different output than their regular stuff. And here was someone who presented himself as a cartoon stick figure.
So, just because his character is a cartoon, he's automatically just a character? Yeah, tell that to literally every commentary channel ever. And yes, I know most of them play a character, including myself, but they still differentiate from their real selves and their character. Not that GradeAUnderA was ever a character to begin with. Not to mention, the Nostalgia Critic and Filthy Frank have nothing to do with GradeAUnderA.
Someone who seemed to try and represent all real-world events through some sort of mini-universe. Just by the fact that this is how we've always known him, it's near impossible to think that this guy would exist in the real world.
Not really. It's not that hard to believe. If you really think that GradeAUnderA could never exist in the real world, then you're probably the most naive person I've ever seen and or heard of.
We've all kept this image of Grade A actually being a little stick figure guy living in a white void populated by other stick figures.
Wow, it's almost as if the stick figures are meant to represent real people. Again, you're incredibly naive. To put it in perspective, think of GradeAUnderA's world as the illustrations in Diary of a Wimpy Kid. You wouldn't assume the world in that book is just lines on paper with weirdly proportioned cartoon characters. No, you think of them as actual people. Same with GradeAUnderA's videos. You don't see them as stick figures in a white void. You see them, or at least are supposed to see them, as actual people in the real world. And yes, I know Diary of a Wimpy Kid is a fiction, and GradeAUnderA is a real person, but that's the best comparison I have.
With Keemstar, everyone's always known that he's kept up an active spear since before the beginning, so controversies rising up outside of his mainstream network have always been expected. But you wouldn't expect the same thing to be true for Grade, because it's hard to imagine him in a context where he would even exist outside of his show.
Actually, GradeAUnderA has gotten into drama before. People have claimed he backstabbed Keemstar, was responsible for a lawsuit involving Matthew Santoro, despite Matthew plagiarizing content, and even got falsely accused of being a pedophile. So yes, he has gotten into real-life drama. You know how I know this? Because I actually watched his videos for more than 3 minutes.
And he does. Oh, does he?
If you're going to scroll through a bunch of posts, do it at a speed where we can actually read them. Oh, but you wouldn't want to do that, because it would prove you wrong. And Big Boy Quinton is never wrong!
So in order to better show off the point I'm trying to make here, I'm going to go ahead and use Undera's real head for the rest of the video instead of that peanut-shaped thing.
So you're showing the face of a guy who doesn't like showing his face publicly a lot? You're an asshole. You know who else does that sort of thing? Keemstar. And when you're doing the same shit as Keemstar, you know you're a dick.
I'm also going to add a beard just because I imagine that's how he looks by this point. Think through all the people you've ever communicated with in your life and try and find the one who most matches Andere in his style of communicating in these videos. You're looking for someone who A. thinks that shouting louder means that he's winning, B. never seems to have any real backing to his arguments other than simple statements, C. often is unable to accept that certain topics may have more nuance than he is giving them credit for, D. won't let you finish a single statement because he keeps interrupting you with more angry shouting and random statements that he refuses to explain, E. puts his own opinion on a high pedestal and constantly talks about the fact that he was right in the past, and F. constantly tries to undermine your right to have an opinion in an aggressive attempt to override any point that you brought up against him.
That doesn't really sound like GradeAUnderA. Sounds more like my mom, to be honest. Also, you say he interrupts people? No, it doesn't. It's a fucking YouTube video. He doesn't have that ability. And of course he would put his opinion on a pedestal because it's his channel! And even if he is yelling, then who the fuck cares?
Well, the person I don't agree with on the internet is yelling in his YouTube video. Well, why can't I just have an opinion of peace without anyone else disagreeing with me? Well...
Learn how the world works before making a statement on someone else's character like that.
If you're like me, you clearly recall dozens of people in your life who have been like this, and you might even think back to a time when you took part in conversations in the same way, probably when you were 16 and made cringy Doctor Who videos.
I got it! I'll use a self-degrading joke in order to make myself immune to criticism. Can't criticize me if I criticize myself first.
And most of us are coming to one singular thought about that guy. Wow. That dude was a fucking dick. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, and you've never met anyone like this, then congratulations, you are that guy.
Bit of a bold statement to make, isn't it, Quinton? People like me are losers and don't interact with people much. So it's a bit bold to assume something like that about the viewer.
If someone having an opinion not like yours makes you convulse in anger, or send you into a deep rage, planning on what quick zinger to throw out to end the conversation then and there, to make you the universal winner, or if someone bringing up a good point sends you into Terminator scanning mode, trying to find that one attack point where you can swipe in and destroy this person's reputation, please stop and try to act like an adult for once in your life.
Irony.
The most annoying tactics used by the DISOWNED bot 9000 is the attempt to disarm the other's right to an opinion instead of actually having to counter anything that they've said. I see this everywhere, and I mean everywhere, and it's the most pansy move that you can possibly take in any situation.
You say he takes people's right to have an opinion, yet at the beginning of the video, you insult him twice. Look in the fucking mirror for once in your life. God.
To further enunciate what I'm talking about, I'm going to revisit the classic humongous meme. What happened in this situation, according to what I've been able to piece together, is that a group of activists were protesting a new police station in a town when a figure came in and gave an interview to the media discussing how he supported the move because the officers helped to get his daughter off the streets. Of course, a pretty good point to raise up, and the group of activists could have tried to either combat it or incorporate it into their message to make it seem more nuanced. For instance, they could have said, it's not about the cops being good or not, it's about a waste of resources. But instead, they attempted to simply delete the argument and undercut his message by searching for a way to splice away at the man's right to have an opinion.
You're looking too deeply into this. All that happened was some dumbass SJW claimed some random guy sexually harassed her, when all he did was make a retarded dad joke. And since when has GradeAUnderA falsely accused anyone of anything?
And this is the person who just got interviewed as a pro-bunker person of colour. And then you speak to me in a sexually harassing manner. How dare you? How dare you?
Yes, how dare you try to say that the police help people when you're just a grubbly misogynist?
Did we watch the same video? Because I don't remember that part.
You don't have the right to make that statement, or to have opinions in general. I use this example because it's one where 99% of people are going to agree that this person is completely insane and is using terrible argument skills. And it's really helpful when people I disagree with use this style of arguing because it proves how truly insecure they are. But the practice doesn't start being annoying just when it's someone I disagree with. I can totally like you, agree with your stances, completely agree with everything that you've said and are saying, but if you're using this kind of argument where you're trying to disarm the other side's right to an opinion instead of actually talking about what they said, well then you're a pussy.
Well, I'm the weird one, I guess. I may not agree with what you say and how you say it, but I'm not going to stop you from saying it. If I disagree with you, big whoop, but I'm not going to stop you. GradeAUnderA is not taking away people's right to have an opinion. No one is immune to criticism. Not you, not me, not even GradeAUnderA. Also, you say that people who use these tactics are pussies, but I'ma call irony again.
Remember that thing that happened earlier this year where a bunch of predominant YouTubers made extremely vague YouTube is changing vlogs, where they attempted to discuss moments of distress that they find in the current market without actually exploring what they were trying to get across? Well, I thought those videos were stupid and boring, and when I heard that Grade is going to pick them apart, I was so excited. It's hard to imagine now, but it was once joked that H3H3, I Hate Everything, and Grade A were all the police force of bad channels, since they all had a history of making fun of tacky trends.
If that's honestly how you view GradeAUnderA and I Hate Everything, then you have a completely wrong idea of what these YouTubers do and what the police do. The only thing these YouTubers do is express opinions. They don't take down bad trends. The bad trends die off because they're bad.
But this was the video where people started to realize that once you really put any thought into Grade's videos, they really don't amount to many points. I remember sitting through this entire thing, eagerly anticipating the part where he would have something smart to say, where he would bring up some new points, or analyze the videos, or at least show significant clips from them. But this, it didn't happen. Instead, Undera goes through each case and attempts to explain why each of these YouTubers are voices that shouldn't be listened to.
But that's a part of an argument, isn't it?
Apparently, Markiplier makes gaming content, and that's easy content, and he has dyed hair, and he has a loose style of voicing, and he has a nickname, so he isn't allowed to have an opinion on YouTube.
You're leaving out context. It's because Markiplier used the fallacy that having lots of subscribers makes you smart / a good voice of reason.
I have a lot of subscribers. Well, fuck me, Mark. The Fine Brothers have more subscribers than you as well. But as they showed a few months ago, that does not necessarily mean that they know much about where the site's going either, does it? Another shit point.
And how Mark says that him being around on YouTube for a long time makes him a voice of reason when it doesn't.
I've been doing this for 4 years. If you've been doing it for 4 years, Markiplier, this fucking clown's name is Mr. Pregnant. And he's been making videos for almost the entire time that YouTube's been around. 10 years. So should we listen to him as well? Exactly. No, we shouldn't. Okay? So that's a shit point.
Also, you say his video was loose? Yet, no. It was an unorganized mess, not loose. The part about his hair and nickname was a very small part of the video.
PewDiePie, apparently, also isn't allowed to have an opinion on YouTube because he's the #1 subscribed YouTuber, and Fred used to be the #1 subscribed YouTuber, and no one likes Fred, right?
Again, you're leaving out more context. It was because PewDiePie was being a hypocrite since he got into drama literally the next day with KSI, despite him saying drama was a waste of time.
But there was one fundamental thing he did which makes it impossible to respect him on this issue. In his video, PewDiePie literally said,
"Drama. I can't think of anything more stupid to waste your time on." But it seems that the internet would disagree with me on that one.
Not just the internet, PewDiePie, but it seems as if you yourself would disagree with you on this one. Despite saying that drama is the stupidest thing you could waste your time on, he then went and wasted his time and started a little bit of drama with KSI. And as if that wasn't bad enough, right? He did this literally the next day after uploading the video. PewDiePie couldn't even go one single day without spending his time on what he considers to be the biggest waste of time. What? Like, look at this, man. That's some legit roast level fire right there.
See, I know you're purposely leaving out context and hope your viewers won't be bothered to see the actual video.
And then he tops it all off in a patched-on section where he admits that the video is flawed and that he took extra time to extend the Matthew Santora section to include the fact that he's stolen top 10 lists. Thus, he's a fraud and no one should listen to him.
You're leaving out more context. The reason GradeAUnderA brought up Matthew Santoro plagiarizing is because it's hypocritical that Matthew Santoro talks about the integrity of other YouTubers when he himself has plagiarized from Listverse. You can't call out people for a lack of integrity when you yourself steal other people's work.
In his video, Matthew talks about drama being a problem on this website. But there's something else that happens on YouTube now and then, right? Which is such a big problem when it happens that it makes drama look like nothing. Because I believe it would be very reasonable to say that from the evidence that I've seen and that I'm about to show you in a second, YouTube's golden boy, Matthew Santoro, plagiarizes like a motherfucker. I've seen evidence that Matthew Santoro plagiarizes a ton of his material from a website called listverse.com. And honestly, right, that fucking sickens me. On November the 5th, 2014, listverse.com published an article called 10 Weirdly Famous People. What it is, right, is it's an article talking about 10 people who are famous for really weird reasons, right? However, on November the 10th, 2014, literally 5 days later, Matthew Santoro made a video called 10 People Famous for Really Weird Things, which is a video also talking about 10 people who are famous for really weird reasons. The 10 people featured in the list-verse article in order of appearance are these guys. And the 10 people in Matt's video, in order of appearance, are these guys. Literally the exact same guys. Every single one. And not only that, right? But in the exact same order too. Matt pretty much just read out exactly what was in the articles.
Character in 500 commercials spanning a career of 21 years. In fact, in a 1978 poll, Mr. Whipple was the third most recognizable man in America, right behind Richard Nixon and Billy Graham, which consisted of 6 votes, including those from himself and his parents. In 1931, a guy named Plenty Wingo was talking to some friends about publicity stunts when he came up with his own. He decided to walk backwards around the world. He made it 13,000 kilometers before being sent back over a border dispute with Istanbul.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, right? All of this apparent plagiarism from someone who has the fucking nerve to say shit like this.
YouTube was built off of people who are just creative.
Are you fucking serious, Matt? Creating? You just read it out. What exactly do you think you're creating? The fucking audiobook to that article. Dustin Kosky is the one who is credited for writing that article for Listverse. I do not see Dustin's name anywhere in your video credits, Matt. Writing shit and coming up with material for a video or an article can be so fucking hard. And I find it disgusting when people just use other people's work without their permission. And then you go and complain about the integrity of creators? Plagiarism is something that I don't think anyone should tolerate, ever. That plagiarism is fucking disgusting, and anyone who does it should not be taken seriously as a content creator by anyone. And they should be fucking ashamed of themselves.
That's the one that's stuck around the longest, and it's the one that makes the most sense to bring up. But it's still annoying to mention it in a video that isn't about that thing. This is some high school level drama here, guys.
Again, Matthew Santoro literally plagiarized.
As I said, one of the backing problems with Grade is that behind the scenes and on social media, he seems to be exactly like the person that he presents himself to be in his videos. When the YouTube version of Grade talks about how he's fixed YouTube single-handedly and how he's on a high standard for opinions, even people who don't think that he's a character think that he's just trolling.
No, they don't. He was never just trolling. Again, you are so naive. Also, he never claimed to single-handedly save YouTube. He just wanted to help make the site a better place.
But then you go to his social media and you're like, oh, he's not.
The drama video that I did make 2 months ago got the CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, to tweet at us and start listening to us about how to make YouTube better.
Yes, Grade, you and you alone, with hashtag make YouTube great again, made YouTube better. It's all fine now. Grade fixed it. Thanks, Grade. Glad that nothing bad happens anymore on YouTube. Oh yes, and you've started so many big social trends, Grade. Good job. And how bold and beautiful of you to not do a video on H3 versus Leafview when everyone else was. Oh, you avoid drama so much, you actually care about your content.
Being condescending won't make your argument any better, Quinton. Yeah, he didn't single-handedly save YouTube, but he did get the attention of the CEO of YouTube, which is going somewhere. Maybe stop with the negative outlook and think positively for once.
The guy keeps open friendships with deeply controversial figures and refuses to talk about them until suddenly everyone else is, and then he has to turn on them.
Two reasons. He said some insanely racist shit against minorities, and I'm a minority myself. And people say it's a business decision. These are words that came from his mouth and his mouth alone. And he was also calling someone a pedophile. Now listen, I'm a pretty laid back guy, right? It's not like I won't be friends with someone unless they're the fucking Pope, right? But am I supposed to stay someone's friend after I see them ticking this many boxes? Really? So if I don't stick by my racist friend and tickle his balls while he makes racist statements about a group of people that I myself belong to, that's backstabbing, is it? Does that really sound like backstabbing? Or has someone been playing the victim card and trying to manipulate everyone into thinking he's been backstabbed to get everyone on his side and hoping that they forget his racism?
But of course he goes after any of his fans that have even the slightest problems with his channel, even if they're extremely constructive, because he doesn't care about that stuff. A quote from the scholar of our time. I'll fucking love anyone who watches my videos, man. But if someone's gonna watch my videos and complain, I don't like you at all. I don't value you in any way. I just want you to unsubscribe and fuck off.
So, you're not gonna show the comment he's replying to? Oh, right, that would make your opinion invalid. Hence why you use this text instead of taking a screenshot. Also, he has a point. While no one is immune to criticism, if you have nothing constructive to add, and are just gonna baselessly complain, then yeah, you can fuck off.
Sorry, that was more of like a Liverpool thing. I don't know, like a wide range of voices. This was one of the many offhand Reddit comments, now deleted, of course.
Weird how it got deleted just as you were making this video. You know how the internet works. Pick or it didn't happen.
Which inspired an entire thread dedicated to discussing people's recent problems with Grade. And Grade fought tooth and nail to make sure that each and one of these comments was completely taken care of by having them deleted. Yes, he contacted a Reddit moderator and asked if she would delete the entire thread, and when she said no and went public with his demands, Grade called her out in a Twitch stream.
Even though he has since addressed this?
Now listen, I've not been the most professional person online, right? And on about maybe 4 or 5 occasions or so, I've been a bit of a dick to viewers who have said something to me. Like, for example, this fucking dickhead who was telling me not to waste my time making my hashtag Make YouTube Great Again videos back in February, telling me that they wouldn't get YouTube to listen or change anything. Unlucky mate! I'm not gonna lie, right? That's not ideal. I would like to think that if you're polite to me, I'll be polite back. But if you're a dick to me, I'll be it back too. If you catch me on a bad day and say something to me that I'm not in the mood for, I am very prone to call you a cunt, alright? Why? Because I'm a bit of a cunt myself. Now listen, should I do that? No, of course not, right? Should I apologize for doing so? Of course I should. That's not a nice thing to say, right? And I'm sorry for doing so. I do not want to be a dick to viewers. Other YouTubers, sure, but viewers, not them, man. But listen, I like to think that I've matured a lot in the past year or so, right? And I am on my best behavior now, and I promise I won't do it again. Probably. I shouldn't do it, right? But yes, I have done it a handful of times in the past. But listen, this is not something I hide, though. Everyone cites this one time where I asked someone to try and get some shit deleted for me. What? What are you trying to delete, Grade? What are you trying to hide from everyone? Did someone have proof that I murdered someone? Or plotted 9/11? Or even worse, owned a CSGO skin gambling site? No, it was a time that I was in a shit mood and I was a dick to a viewer, like I just said before. Nothing racist or anything like that, right? I just went a bit too hard on someone and I regret it and I want it unsaid and gone. Again, me being a dick to people is not something I tried to hide, right? But I look back at that thread and I did regret it a little bit. But some people are trying to use this as some major exposed material because ExposedTube 2016, give me some views, please.
So as you can see, he was trying to get rid of it because he wasn't proud of it, not because he was trying to censor it.
Go read that comment. Go tell that fucking whore that's a mod on my fucking subreddit to link you to what I said to delete.
Fucking brilliant, man. You really came out on top on that one, I think. Yeah. Just send your horde of 12-year-old fans to send threats through personal messages to a 16-year-old Reddit moderator until she kneels down and apologizes.
Even though she put GradeAUnderA on blast for that shit, even though he regretted it. Also, I see you took a page out of Screw textbook of how to argue since you're just gonna dismiss his audience by calling them 12-year-olds. So, by your logic, congratulations! You are that guy.
You're a fucking YouTube champion, aren't you? Keep it up, Grade. With your help, we can make YouTube great again! And honestly, that's just the tip of Antarctica, man. I really suggest going into this yourself. Don't presume anything, do your own research. The amount of terrible events that Grade has done or led in the past 6 months rivals what Keemstar has done in the past 10 years. And much like how seeing the clips of Keemstar loudly shouting racist slurs or bullying innocent old men into fetal positions can kind of ruin any slight appeal that he might have once had, finding out that Grade treats his fans like specks of dirt for even daring to have a different brainwave than him makes you realize that we have elected a very dangerous and sociopathic individual into a seat of great power entirely as a funny gag. Insert political joke here.
Again, can you not think positively for once in your life? Not everyone is this evil asshole you make them out to be. So I was going to make this into a single video, but it's almost 2 AM as I'm typing this script, so stay tuned for part 2. If you want more from me, you can watch my DeviantArt, follow my Instagram. If you want to support the channel, you can donate to my Patreon. If you want to communicate with me directly, you can join my Discord. And until next time, see you later, and have a happy steak and blowjobs day.